unapata kwamba the biggest problem in that NADCO report ni the creation of offices, the PM office or minority leader office. Kuna ofisi nyingi zinakuwa created. Goes back to my point about mzee anastaafu huyu, tumpe mambo yake na watu wake, aondoke in peace. No, so those are the biggest things that I wanted to have. Nothing new there. Uphold integrity of leadership, you just laugh at that because they've never upheld an integrity in leadership. Juzi hapa, people were being murdered and the police were not even held responsible. So you cannot say that now all of a sudden they're going to hold integrity in leadership. They've got the rights to assemble peacefully. That's common sense again. It's enshrined in the Constitution with a very, very abysmal implementation.
This thing, it was first of all very poorly written. I'm like, hata kama mnataka kudanganya watu na kuwahada, at least put in some effort, like the way they like fight corruption. I mean, what exactly is that? Is this the best that they could do? So they write in this very generalistic language whereby there will be no accountability.
Yeah.
Angalia maoni wote, angalia kwenye YouTube huko. Tabitha amejiunga, amesema tu wow, na tunasema wow na karibu sana. Steven JJ alisema alikuwa ni fidelity to the party. And then some people, okay, tumezungumzia kuhusiana na Bondo, choosing a system that doesn't work for us. Sly anasema Oburu alikuwa wa Bondo at one point, na ilikuwa ni kabla ya comment tumesoma ya Yakobo. Alfa anasema I used to go to Kongoni the one time alivote akiwa minor. Ameshafikisha.
Ndo alikuwa anaiba kura inaonekana.
Okay, yeah. We honestly need to go back to 8 provinces, get our resources together. We were divided even further in the name of devolution.
Hapo I'll politely disagree with Stephen JJ. Unajua, those of us who came from Nairobi, from this and this county surrounding Nairobi, we're talking about counties in Central Province, like counties where basically where the railway line passed, like even including, I would say to a certain extent, even Mombasa. We used to live in a very different Kenya. And some very, very basic government services never used to reach other places. And this is including schools, healthcare. That's why I'm like, that idea of going back to those
water,
to those 8 provinces. You're telling someone, like Mandera County had their first C-section in 2014 or 20, very, very, very recently. That is when they were able to get their first C-section.
What was that coming from? Was it from Garissa to Nini? You to take you was
no, mwisho wa lami ilikuwa ni Isiolo. Hata Isiolo yenyewe ilikuwa ina lami. So ukienda zile sides za kule, kama unaelekea kule, ile school ilikuwa inaitwa Garbatula. Where there some people ilikuwa unaingia sasa hizi pickup ama unaingia hizi lori zinabeba mifugo. Yeah. That's how you would get there.
And it's sometimes a 3-day, right?
Yeah.
Depending on
it was an entirely different Kenya.
Yes.
So I think people need to be we need to diversify our mindset a bit to understand that there were, like when I was in changes, there are people who would come in January, they don't go home until November.
Yes.
Totally. Wanaka the whole year.
And then
holidays.
Funnily enough, they are accommodated and they stay and they eat during
holidays.
During holiday. Watu
hawarudi. Because kurudi holiday ni wiki 3. Wiki moja kusafiri kwenda. And then
mlikuwa mnaenda mbinguni. I mean,
it's the roads pretty much. You might as well say that.
Let me tell you, bandio ukija Kenya, ukianza kuelekea pandi za kaskazini,
ile hela unaenda kutumia.
Different country.
And remember that time it's a national school, so watu they did well in their province. Wameletwa.
9503. Huyo ni Yakobo. Hello.
Salama sana, mambo.
Salama. Karibu jitambulishe alafu tuende kazi.
And tell us where you're calling from too.
Of course. Thank you very much. My name is Yakobo Simba, as Bandio just said, and I'm calling from Philly, the city of the Super Bowl champions. I want to make my point very
people,
brief.
They never stop. Karibu.
Watu nimejua. Asante. My point here is that these people have always played with us, and the point that I'm going to make is that this is a pact between friends who have decided to give someone a retirement send away. Like they're giving a rao, like, you know what, when mzee wetu tumefanya kazi na wewe sana, shukran sana, tutakupatia nguvu hizi za kipawa through NADCO na sijui nini, kisha uende nyumbani retire in peace. I think this is his last dance. Here's why I say this. My point that I made in the chat was that all these 10 things that they've listed here, they're more about creating power and opportunities for Raila and his camp than doing anything for Kenyans. If you think about it, inclusive government, hiyo si ni kusema kwamba sasa watu wa Raila wataingia pale. Protect and strengthen devolution. We already know that the constitution wants us to protect and strengthen the devolution. Economic investment in the youth, that's such a common sense thing. There's nothing new there. Uphold integrity of leadership, you just laugh at that because they've never upheld an integrity in leadership. Jews, people were being murdered and the police were not even held responsible. So you cannot say that now all of a sudden they're going to hold integrity in leadership. Safeguard the rights to assemble peacefully. That's common sense again. It's enshrined in the constitution with a very, very abysmal implementation. Audit national and reduce national debt. Come on. You're really going to list that as one of the big things that you're going to do. Another thing, fight corruption. That's laughable. Raise and manage resources responsibly. Again, laughable. Protects the sovereignty of the people. That's a da thing. Lafu number kwanza ni NADCO report. Now, the NADCO report is interesting because like Ali was saying a little earlier, unapata kwamba the biggest problem in that NADCO report ni the creation of offices, the PM office or sijui minority leader office. Kuna ofisi nyingi zinakuwa created. Goes back to my point about mzee anastaafu huyu, tumpe mambo yake na watu wake, aondoke in peace. No, so those are the biggest things that I wanted to highlight today. Asanteni sana kwa muda wenu.
Asante sana Yakobo, and one thing that I will fully agree with you Yakobo is that this thing, it was first of all very poorly written. I'm like, hata kama mnataka kudanganya watu na kuwahadaa, at least put in some effort, you know, like the way they like fight corruption. I mean, what exactly is that? Stop abduction. Stop abductions. I mean, like, surely, you know, like it's one of those things where you're like, is this the best that that they could do? So they write in this very generalistic language whereby there will be no accountability at the end of it. But Jacobo, before you go, where you know, I'll ask this question, and I'm gonna sound like a broken record again. We are all not happy. You know, like, we're not happy now. We don't even know the opposition is in government and the government is in opposition. But how do we politically mobilize from outside these major formations? You know, like, and even as we're approaching now towards the end of the show, like, kwanza kama sisi diaspora, what exactly are we supposed to do?
Or should we do?
Or should we be doing? Because it's 2025, 2027 is around the corner. You know, like, it's not that far. Jacobo.
Thank you very much. I think number one, we have to stop looking from the outside. We have to get involved. So I want to acknowledge and really appreciate the young people who have gotten into politics. Agina Morara, you know, you can disagree with the camps they're in, but they're inside. Akina Makure, now to come out. That is the way we need to go. Number two, us in the diaspora, we have to be active in our little circles. For example, what we're doing right now is very good because mimi wenye nimepiga simu, nyinyi ambao mmekuwa mkidadisi haya maneno ama kuyaongea all night is very good. Wanaosikiza hapa na kupitia YouTube, that's very good. We're engaging these conversations, but we're not engaging them through tribalistic lenses. Raila, no, we critique everybody, and so that we're having informed information. Number three, wewe na mimi tunatumaga pesa nyumbani. Unaambia watu unatumiaga pesa, but the way kama hautaenda kuvote hii safari sikutumii tena. We have to use our power. You in diaspora, unatumiaga mtu school fees, unaambia maze kama uende kuvote sikutumii tena. Covered. We have to be proactive. Hatuwezi kuwa kwamba tunapiga kelele from outside all the time. So even amongst us, if there's someone who wants to go back home aende kuvai, tutamsupport.
Andrew Kimani anakwenda.
Andrew Kimani amesema na vice presidents.
Omoshi mwache, hiyo ni the different story.
Yeah. Wow. Exactly. And that's the point. We support that person. You know, we say, so OneMic is going to sponsor Kimani or whatever, or Mosh. we say we're behind almost 100%. Zamsaidia magari nini na mafuta ya gari. So that's my point, Ali. Activism and getting into it. Tusiangalie from outside looking in. Thank you.
Okay, Akobo, I will contact you. We need to start organizing, like in whatever way we need to, in our own small way. Like haba na haba ujaza kibaba.
So angemtumia Yakobo kusummarize. Summary yake imekuwa better kuliko hii ya MOU.
Gani hiyo summary
aliyozungumza hapa imekuwa tungeuza hiyo ingeleweka kuliko walichotuandikia hapa, but that's okay. Asante sana Yakobo.
Asante sana Yakobo.
Asante sana ndugu zangu.
Okay, hapa some comments were coming in on YouTube. I think hapa Pan-African anasema right when they were drafting this to-do list, Ruto was going back to a widely broadcasted declaration regarding cash handouts by politicians in churches. And then Wairimbo anasema Raila was our Langata MP. The slum sprawl is attributed to him. Now, I know ikitu ya Raila, blaming Raila has been, like a very interesting spot. But then, no, but then, apana, not Kibra. I don't think Warimo is talking about Kibra. There's a slum that popped up in Langata, Kijiji.
Yes.
Kijiji.
If you know, you know.
Yes. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
And that's not Kibra.
Yes.
That's not Kibra. Kuna Kijiji.
Yes. Ile wagapale between Onyonka and
Southlands. That popped up there. So yeah, and that's just one big problem in Nairobi. Kuna, by the way, interestingly enough,
it's not only in that area.
It's not only in that area.
Mukuru Wajenga came after our time.
Nairobi. Yes, Nairobi.
Slums that came up later on.
Correct. Nairobi, close to 70% of the population lives in, and I know ni mambo tunafaa kuongea internally Kenya, tusikuje tukaanza kuchambwa na Watanzania when we go in those online wars.
Sija update nani status yangu for
Nairobi, believe it or not, is close to 70%. Close to 70% of the population lives in informal settlements. Meaning, by informal settlement, I mean places that do not have sanitation inside. Close to 70% of the population.
Wow.
So I know watu wakipiga up ma Instagram nini, I'm in Kilimani, I'm in sijui Kileleshwa, I'm in sijui Lavington. Just know that's the minority. That is the minority, and that's why Nairobi politics, our middle class hawezi kuelewa kabisa, because 70% of the population lives in those informal settlements, which is very unfortunate.
Kampeni hapa nafikiri sile